Where should we look for an explanation of Peter and Jude's mention of the angels that sinned? Number one rule of good Bible study is to always read the context. Most Christians read about the angels that sinned passages, read only about the flood, Sodom sequence in 2 Peter 2, and the Sinai angel Sodom sequence in Jude 5 and 7 through 7. And they usually don't notice what precedes these verses or follows these verses. What precedes these verses is very clear. In their greed, these teachers will exploit you with stories they have made up. 2 Peter 2, verse 3. This alerts us that what follows is related to these stories which are being spread by false teachers among the church, just as they had once spread by false teachers among the people of Israel. And this is confirmed by Jude's parallel example of apostasy at Sinai in Jude 4 and 5. In 2 Peter 2:4 it says, if. Peter refers here to Enoch 10:4, where the archangel Raphael changed the angels that sinned in Tartarus. Note that Peter is using a hypothetical if. If the angels sinned, then. It doesn't mean that Peter is presenting Enoch 10:4 as historical fact, only that he's presenting a logical argument to his conclusion. And then, the then part comes in 2 Peter 2:9. 2 Peter 2:9 says that there's nothing to fear from angels. Peter comes to his conclusion, if God has already reserved the angels to the day of judgment, as Enoch 10:4 says, then there's nothing to fear from the angels that sinned. If God did not spare angels when they sinned, if this is so, then the Lord knows how to rescue godly men from trials and hold the unrighteous for the day of judgment. Peter's argument was pretty clear. This was the best answer to the fallen angels myth in Peter's time. The book of Enoch in Peter's time was a very popular book, much like the Left Behind series is today. Peter's refuting the book of Enoch. He gave the best answer to this fallen angel myth, and it's still the best answer today if you know what you're reading. If the part of the book of Enoch about the angels marrying is true, then why not the part about the angels having been chained in Tartarus? If they're chained in Tartarus, then as Peter argues in 2 Peter 2:9, logically these angels could have never been a threat to anyone. Of course, people claim that there must have been other falls of other angels who got away. But apart from the lack of any evidence for this, and the inconsistency that God would chain the 200 angels and let another band of rebel angels escape, such a claim contradicts Paul's fundamental point, which is that if Enoch were true, that book itself shows that God knows how to deliver the godly from temptation. If that book were true. This is one of the clearest arguments against the existence of fallen angels in the whole Bible. And if you can refute the fallen angel myth using Scripture, then you can do away with the angel, the demons and devils myth. Peter's main argument against Enoch is found in the sections immediately following the mentions of the angels that sin. This often goes unnoticed by people who are seeking in 2 Peter and Jude support for their belief in fallen angels. 2 Peter 2:10, the false teachers slander celestial beings. Those celestial beings are angels. And that's repeated in Jude 8. In 2 Peter 2:11, but angels, although much greater than the teachers, they don't dare bring an accusation against such celestial beings. Repeated in Jude 9. 2 Peter 2:12, so the false teachers slander things that they don't understand or beings that they don't know. Repeated in Jude 10. In 2 Peter 2:10, this is especially true of those who follow the corrupt desire of the sinful nature and despise authority. Bold and arrogant, these men, those false teachers, are not afraid to slander celestial beings. It's right there in 2 Peter 2:10. Authority, literal dominion, is elsewhere in the New Testament always associated with heavenly principalities and powers. Ephesians 1:21, Colossians 1:16. Celestial beings literally is the glories. It's plural and it's used in the sense only by Peter and Jude in the New Testament. In 1 Peter 1:11, Peter speaks of the future glories of Christ. But in the Old Testament, the term describes the glories that were surrounding God. In Exodus 15:11, who is like you among the gods, O Lord? Who is like you, glorified in holiness, marvelous in glories, doing wonders? It's also used in the sense by people in the first century that wrote literature. Moses said, I'm not able to bear the visible appearance of your form, but I ask you that I may behold the glories that are all around you. And the Lord blessed Levi. The angel of the presence blessed me. The powers of glories blessed Simeon. The heaven blessed Reuben. The earth blessed Issachar. That dominion and glories mean more than just human governments and dignities. And it's confirmed by Peter's writings. In 2 Peter, these verses parallel in 2 Peter and Jude are the key to the explanation of both letters. Both writers state twice that the false teachers were slandering celestial beings, the angels. Slander implies two conclusions: that they were accusing the glories of wrongdoing, that their accusations were unfounded. It's surprising, but obvious, and it impacts the impact of these verses, that the false teachers' allegations were lies, that the angels did not sin, and that the whole story of angels that sinned is slander. And most people, when they read 2 Peter and Jude, completely ignore this. In the very same way, these dreamers, these false teachers, pollute their own bodies, reject authority, and slander celestial beings. If the allegations, specifically of angels having sex with women, were slanderous accusations, then it can hardly be used as proof that the accusations were true. If the slander consisted of allegations that angels rebelled, descended to earth, and fathered demons, then Peter and Jude's evidence must be taken to mean that no such thing happened, and that it's not acceptable to believe or teach such things in Christianity. The angels themselves do not slander. In 2 Peter 2:11, Peter and Jude then repeat the charge that not only are the charges human slander against heavenly beings, but that real angels would never make such accusations themselves. 2 Peter 2:11, yet even angels, although they are stronger and more powerful, do not bring slanderous accusations against such beings in the presence of the Lord. In Jude 9, the same is said of Michael, yet according to Enoch, Michael was the leader in bringing the accusations against the fallen angels. That right there should tell you that false book of Enoch that was Jewish fables, supposedly handed down since before the flood, handed down through oral traditions, must have came from the 8 that was on the ark. It would have had to. There's nothing written down. So when you say angels sin, you're doing what the angels would not even do. They don't bring slanderous accusations against the glories, against the dignities. But yet humans today will let it roll off their tongue like butter and think nothing of what they're saying, only trying to prove the point that in their mind angels sin. In the resurrection, the dead will neither marry nor be given in marriage, and they can no longer die, for they are like those angels which do not marry. Are not all angels ministering spirits sent to serve those who will inherit salvation? All angels? Are not all angels ministering spirits? And are sent to obstruct those who will inherit salvation? If they're sinners? All angels are ministering spirits. You know, that may sound kind of funny to you. It's not intended to be funny at all. This is a serious subject. Remember what Jude said about slandering celestial beings. These are the very things that destroy. In Jude 10. How much better it would be to simply accept the teaching of the Bible. It's found in over 288 references to angels, that angels really are all, meaning all without exception, ministering spirits sent to serve those who will inherit salvation. The angel of the Lord encamps around those that fear him. In order to believe in this Lucifer character and demons that can possess people, you have to believe in fallen angels. If you believe in fallen angels, you have to believe in a different gospel. I think I'm going to end it here. Peace, love, justice.